Welcome. You know, some things are better left alone, buried deep in the past. But curiosity has a way of pulling us into places we never should have ventured. Tonight, I've got a tale that'll make you think twice before you start digging up old memories. Hush now, are you ready? Well, let's find out, shall we? Emma was just your typical teenager, living in a small town where nothing much ever happened. She was 17, quiet, and kept to herself most of the time. But if you knew Emma, you'd know she had a brother. Because he died 2 years ago in a car accident. She never really got over it, you know? They were close, almost like best friends. When he died, a part of her died too. One night, Emma was up late, like usual. It was one of those nights when sleep just doesn't come easy. She was scrolling through her phone, mindlessly tapping through social media, when she came across something that caught her eye. It was an ad for a chat room, but not just any chat room. This one claimed it could connect people with their deceased loved ones. Sounded like a load of nonsense, right? But for some reason, maybe desperation, maybe just curiosity, she clicked on it. The website was simple, almost too simple, just a dark screen with a chat box and a message saying, "Type the name of the one you seek." Emma stared at the screen for a while, her heart beating faster than it should have. She hesitated, feeling silly, but before she could change her mind, she typed in her brother's name, Tom. For a minute, nothing happened. She started to think it was just a joke, but then the chat box lit up. Someone had typed back. The message said, "Emma? Is that really you?" Her breath caught in her throat. How could they know her name? She felt a cold shiver run down her spine but pushed it aside. She typed back, "Yes, it's me. Is this Tom?" There was a pause, and then the reply came, "It's me. I've missed you so much." Emma's hands were shaking. It couldn't be him, it just couldn't. But the things he started saying, the memories he brought up, there was no way a stranger could know those things. He talked about the time they sneaked out of the house to watch a meteor shower, and how they made a pact to never tell their parents. He mentioned her secret nickname, the one only he used. It had to be him, it had to be. They talked for hours that night, catching up on everything. He told her that he was in a place where he was at peace, but he missed her, missed the way things used to be. And every night after that, they'd chat. It became a routine, almost like he was still there, alive and well. But there was one thing he kept saying that started to bother her. He wanted to see her, said he could come back, but only if she agreed to meet him in person. Emma was torn. It sounded crazy, but she wanted to believe it, wanted to see her brother one more time. So, one night, she finally agreed. She typed, "Where can I meet you?" The reply was instant, "At the old playground where we used to go as kids. Tomorrow night, at midnight." The next day felt like the longest day of her life. She couldn't focus on anything. Her mind kept drifting back to the chat. She told herself it was going to be okay, that she was going to see her brother again. But deep down, there was a nagging feeling, something she couldn't quite shake. Midnight came, and Emma found herself standing at the old playground, the one just outside of town. It was deserted, abandoned years ago. The swings creaked in the wind, and the moon cast long shadows that made everything look eerie. She waited, her heart pounding in her chest. And then she saw him. Standing by the slide, in the shadows, was a figure. She couldn't see his face, but she knew it was him. She called out, "Tom?" The figure didn't move at first, just stood there, watching her. Then, slowly, he stepped into the moonlight. It wasn't Tom. Emma's heart dropped. The man standing in front of her was someone she didn't recognize. But as he came closer, something about him seemed familiar, in the worst way possible. His eyes were dark, and there was something about the way he moved that sent chills down her spine. And then it hit her. The man looked like someone she had seen before, years ago. It was Tom's stalker. Back when Tom was alive, there was this guy who used to follow him around. An older man who always gave off a creepy vibe. Tom never took him seriously, just thought he was some harmless weirdo. But now, seeing him here, Emma realized how wrong they had been. The man smiled, a twisted, horrible grin that made her stomach turn. "You shouldn't have come, Emma," he said, his voice low and menacing. She tried to back away, but he was faster. He grabbed her arm, his grip like iron, and she could smell his rancid breath as he leaned in close. "I've been waiting for this for a long time," he whispered. Emma struggled, but it was no use. He was too strong. She screamed, but the playground was too far from town. No one would hear her. The man laughed, dragging her towards the trees, where the shadows were deepest. "Tom begged me to leave you alone, you know," he said, almost casually. "But now that he's gone, there's nothing stopping me." Panic surged through Emma, and with a burst of adrenaline, she managed to pull free, just for a moment. She ran, her feet pounding against the ground, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She could hear him behind her, his footsteps growing closer, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. But no matter how fast she ran, she couldn't shake the feeling that he was right behind her, his breath hot on her neck. And then she tripped. The ground rushed up to meet her, and she fell hard, the air knocked out of her lungs. Before she could get up, he was there, towering over her, his eyes gleaming with sick pleasure. Emma tried to scream, but no sound came out. She tried to crawl away, but he grabbed her by the hair, pulling her back. "You're going to join your brother," he hissed, dragging her towards the trees again. "And this time, I'll make sure you never leave." Her vision blurred with tears, and for a moment she thought she saw Tom standing there, just beyond the trees. But it wasn't him, it was just a trick of the light, just another cruel joke played by the man who had ruined her life. And as the darkness closed in around her, Emma realized too late that some things really are better left alone. So, you see, not every message from the other side is a friendly one. And sometimes, the things we want most are the very things that lead us to our doom. Sleep well tonight, if you can.